Hello there everyone, welcome to part 2 of the Womblesteward series, but the first part where we're actually going to take a look at some of the clips that you have sent in to me to peruse over and give you my opinions on what goes down. Thank you very much to everyone that has sent in a clip so far. If you want to know how to send in a clip, it's very simple. Just save your replay and share it on the Gran Turismo 7 network. As very easy to do. Just tag it as Womblesteward so that when I search for it, I will come up with your clips. I'll take a look at it, maybe put something in the description that tells me exactly what you want me to look at. But yeah, thank you very much to everyone that has sent in clips so far. Not everybody that has sent them in so far is going to be featured in this video. There is a couple of them that is just kind of blatant dirty driving, which is not really quite meeting the criteria of what I'm looking for in this series. It's more kind of racing instance, and there's a little bit of dubiety as in who is to blame. But some of the ones that don't feature on this video maybe will feature in a video in the future. But we're going to start off with a clip from friend of the channel, TCR Bembo Baggins, from Brands Hatch here in the Group 3 machinery, a fairly recent daily race C. And coming out of the second to last corner, Bembo is going to put the car down the inside into the last corner and take the position away from the Genesis, Bembo being in the BMW. But before we kind of take a look at the actual incident itself, as I said in the concept video, I want to kind of take a look at some of the factors that do play a part in what may well go down in the future. And that is that Bembo has pitted for fresh tyres, and the Genesis has also pitted but not taken on fresh tyres. So Bembo has a little bit of a tyre advantage at this stage, and they are very much keen to get that overtake done. But coming into the last corner here, I'm going to pause the footage here because we are very much getting to the braking zone here for the last corner. Now there is a little bit of overlap here, but I'm a big kind of sort of proponent of that the nature of the corner really dictates how far alongside another car you have to be. Now the last corner here at Brands Hatch is just a dab of the brakes and you throw the car in. So for me, Bembo would really have to be more alongside the Genesis here to go for this move. We see the contact there as it's made, the Genesis turns in, and we take a look at it from the Genesis point of view as we come up towards the braking zone. The Genesis on the brakes here. Bembo doesn't really outbrake the Genesis. It's more a kind of bleeds into the space that is always going to disappear, and as the contact is made, it's very much a kind of front to rear BMW onto the Genesis. So for me, I have to put the blame on the BMW, who didn't quite have enough of the car alongside for the nature of the corner and the braking zone. Let's move on to clip number 2, sent in from GTSV. He wants to kind of just me to judge this incident into turn 1 here at Fuji in the Group 3 car. So coming down into turn 1, GTSV did have to try and get the run on the fellow Porsche, but then they got the slipstream off the Ferrari. It's just a simple misjudging the slipstream and the speed of the car into turn 1. You can see they're a long way away from the apex into the braking zone. There is contact with the Ferrari, but it's nothing major. They come off the power, allowing everyone to resume the position they were in without too much time loss. But it's definitely the sort of little incident you kind of want to be making sure you kind of get out of your driving. In the past, you'd have picked up a 1 or 2 second penalty with some of the more stricter penalty systems, but yeah, no real harm done here. Let's move on to clip number 3. This one is sent in from TCR Spider in 4th place at the moment, and they're in the Lamborghini. They wanted me to assess their defensive moves against the Norwegian driver Nybro. Now I didn't see anything wrong with your defensive moves against that driver there. When I sort of assessed them, you were kind of very clear with what you were going to do with the car, and you weren't deviating under braking. I actually found what happened between you and the Aston Martin driver here a little bit more interesting. So the Aston Martin has kind of went for a move up the inside into turn 5, I think it is, into Lagos. Now Nybro has kind of went wide there. There was a kind of weird contact. It was very hard to judge, to be honest with you, but the Norwegian driver went off the track, and it kind of left the Spider and the Finnish driver here to continue the battle. Now going into turn 4 there, you can see that Spider is very clear with their defensive mover, and again leaving space on the outside here. Now the only thing I can maybe say there is you do drift a little bit wide at the first apex there, and there's a slight touch with the Aston Martin. But then going into the right-hander here, the Lamborghini loses it a little bit under braking, and I think what the Aston Martin did there was just a little bit naughty, if you ask me. So they go for the overtake here, and if you pause it here, the Lamborghini is still on the outside. Now for me, you still have to then respect that the Lamborghini exists and is going to be on that part of the track, but for me the Lamborghini is given no room whatsoever here by the Aston Martin, and that's a very deliberate cutting off of the nose of the Lamborghini there, which, you know, I don't think you would penalise it, because the Lamborghini at the end of the day is collecting a little bit of a mistake. But yeah, it seemed a little bit naughty, if you ask me. But overall, watching the entire incident, I didn't really see anybody doing anything that was amiss, to be perfectly honest with you, in that one. But let's move on to this one here at Trial Mountain. This one is definitely a little bit more in the grey area, let's just say. So let's just watch the incident out in full for a start, and then we'll assess what goes on this one. So the Porsche is going to come from a long way back. Now, interestingly, looking at the ghosting there from the Porsche on the Audi suggests to me that this is possibly D-rated drivers. The ghosting system is very aggressive, as you're going to see another instant just a little bit further down. The Audi goes into the back of the Porsche at the next corner, and then the Audi is going to launch one down the inside here, and as you can see, both the cars then ghost out. The Audi goes through. That initially to me looked like it was maybe an attempt at a takeout from the Porsche. The clip is actually sent in by the Porsche here, Rico Bobby, and then coming down into the last chicane, Rico is going to lose the car, and very luckily managed to hold on to second place. But yeah, let's just assess this one once again. So we're coming down the back straight here. Now the Audi is weaving about, which is initially going to probably start to annoy the Porsche driver straight away. But coming into the braking zone here, which I would say is what, the start of the curb, or if you've been ventilating the brakes, the yellow sign. We are a long way back, far too far back to really be going for an overtake. Now, we do get the car somewhat alongside, and we hit the wall to slow the car down. But yeah, it's kind of the old-fashioned hospital pass in football or rugby, where you're basically telling the other car, I'm coming through, or we're going to have an accident, basically. So again, this next one here, the Audi's a long way behind the Porsche, not in a position to go for the overtake. There is a little bit of a touch, but nothing too major in that one. Then coming down into the left-hander here, it's a short braking zone before you turn the car in. The Audi is far too far back to be going for an overtake, but I think the red mist has descended at this point. They want that position back. They're going to launch it down the inside here. It's not like a disgustingly bad move, but the ghosting saves the fact that we have a major collision, and the Porsche doesn't try to take out the Audi. They actually just clip the grass, which is why they kind of speared off to the left-hand side there. But yeah, and overall, very, we're just launching the cars from too far back there. The ghosting system kind of saves the fact that we have a bigger accident than what we actually see. But yeah, just dive bombs from both drivers, to be perfectly honest with you, and they end up kind of finishing in the positions they started. So I would say each driver was as bad as the other in this one, and yeah, we need to kind of sort of be more controlled with our overtakes. Only the ghosting system there really stops us from having far bigger crashes than what we did. Let's move on to clip number 4. This one's been sent in by Lemon Squeezy. This one is quite interesting. We're at Lago Maggiore, and I believe this might have been a GTWS race here. So coming into the left-hander there, the Atenta is going to squeeze down the inside with a little bit of contact. We'll take a look at that one in a wee second. And then the Peugeot here, Lemon Squeezy, is going to get a little bit of a slipstream, and they're going to launch one down the inside into the hairpin. They get the car into the apex. There's a little bit of contact from behind from the Atenza. That puts the Peugeot off the track, and the Atenza goes back through. Now these two went on to have a little bit of a ding-dong for another couple of laps. Far too much for me to assess, but let's go back and take a look at that initial sequence. So we've got the Atenza here, has got a good run on the Peugeot. Lemon Squeezy goes to go defensive, but sees that they are too late in that move, and then move back onto the racing line. Now if we take a look here, This is a very strange, it's a tough corner, this one. There is a little bit of overlap, but as we move forward here, when the contact is actually made, the Atenza has, it's the front of the car to the rear, but is the Peugeot quite on the racing line there? Do the tyre marks kind of signify where the Peugeot should really have been? Either way, I do think this Atenza doesn't quite adjust their speed enough for the angle, trajectory and nature of the corner. So there is a pretty hefty contact. So they do very much kind of just barge their way through the Peugeot, if you ask me. Now, I don't think it's like a dirty move. I think it's an ambitious overtaking and a misjudgment of the angling of the car. But I would probably be a little bit upset if I was Lemon Squeezy in that instant. But let's take a look at Lemon Squeezy's overtake here. So they are a good bit behind, but this is what you need to do when you're going to go for an overtake. You need to really properly outbrake the car in front. I mean, it's a hairpin, so it's a much better nature of corner to go for an overtake. And I think it was a good overtake. They got to the apex, they outbraked them, and then a little bit of contact puts them off the track, which allows the Atenza to get back through. But I would say the Atenza's move initially was a little bit too robust, a misjudgment of the kind of overtake you can do on that corner, and I think a visit to the stewards from the Atenza would be in order if they finished ahead of Lemon Squeezy. But they went on to have a very big ding-dong for the next couple of laps as well, where they were possibly as bad as each other. Let's move on to the next instant. This has been sent in from Uncle Pom Pom, and it's from the recent Mazda MX-5 race at Daytona. So Uncle Pom Pom goes off the track there, there's contact with the German driver, and it bumps them around and puts them to the back of the grid. Now, Uncle Pom Pom wanted me to take a look at this and ask, did they leave enough room when they came back onto the track? Now, what's a bit strange about this one is I don't really understand why they cut the corner in the first place. But yeah, if we look at here, when you rejoin the track, there is a lot of track to the right hand side there, and then they make contact with the front of the German's car, who really can't expect them to be there, having cut across the chicane. They're kind of, Uncle Pom Pom is aiming straight for the apex there rather than being more over to the right hand side of the track, if you ask me. So I'm afraid, Uncle Pom Pom, I'm going to put this one entirely on you. At the end of the day, you've cut over the track there. We take a look from the Germans' point of view. You've just appeared out of nowhere, cut across the nose of their car, and been the architect of your own demise, I must say. But that's all I've got for you in this video. Thank you very much to everyone that sent in incidents as well. Let me know what you think in the comments of my views on them. I'd be really interested to hear what you've got to say. This was my first attempt doing a video like this. I must admit I ran into a few editing problems along the way, so I'll take a look into trying getting these videos to be a little bit better and smoother in the future. But hopefully you have enjoyed this one. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for sending in the clips again, folks. Keep some new clips coming in as well, and I'll catch you on the next one. Goodbye now.